And this is Gavel to Gavel, WCBW-TV's complete coverage of Richmond City Council. Good evening once again. I'm Dick Harmon. Welcome to our first meeting of the month of June, this being June 10th on 2013. What have we got in store tonight? Well, total of 21 items on the agenda. However, 6 on consent agenda. Then we have 8 appointments, 5 reappointments for a total of 13, and 2 items on the regular agenda. But there's going to be a bunch of changes as we usually have them, so let's get started. We'll run through the agenda, tell you what will and will not happen tonight. Let's get started with item number 1. This is ordinance 2013-80, special use of 2501 Monument Avenue. This is for a museum for architecture and design and a lodging unit. That's been continued till our next meeting, and that will be on June 24th. Item number 2, ordinance 2013-95. And this is authorizing the reconfiguration and addition of parking areas on the property at 1714 Summit Avenue. That stays on consent agenda. Item number 3, ordinance 2013-96. And this is concerning reports to the Council on Economic Development and Lease Matters. This one's been continued until July 8th. Item 4, ordinance 2013-97. And this is concerning reports to Council on temporary assignments of employees, etc. That's been continued till our next meeting on June 24th. Item 5, ordinance 2013-106. And this is authorizing special use at 310 South Boulevard for the purpose of a non-medical office use, and to additionally authorize enclosure of an existing 292-foot square porch upon certain terms and conditions. That one will stay on consent agenda. Now, item number 6 was one they had quite a bit of discussion about during the informal meeting. This is ordinance 2013-109, and this concerns the voluntary retirement incentive program that would become effective on July 1st. After much discussion, in fact, they had a couple of closed session items they had to discuss, so they broke from the informal meeting, went into their closed session, then came back out and had questions answered, but there's still some questions on numbers, etc. So at first they wanted to send it back to government ops, but instead it was decided to send it to the Finance Committee, which will meet on June 20th, and then bring it back for a vote on June 24th. So if you are coming down today to speak about the voluntary retirement incentive program, it is not going to be on the agenda tonight. It'll be heard instead on the 24th of June. Then we get to appointments and reappointments. Whole bunch of those tonight. Let's see. We've got Denise Dickerson, member of Richmond Behavioral Health Authority. Dr. Cheryl Ivy Green, Richmond Behavioral Health Authority. Leighton Powell, the Advisory Board of Recreation and Parks. Jesse Bell, member of the Personnel Board of the City of Richmond. Dolores McQuinn, member of the Board of Directors of Capital Area Partnership Uplifting People. Item number 12, this was Jonathan Zuer, member of the Board of Directors Capital Area Partnership. That one's being continued till the next meeting. Now remember, appointments, you must be here that night. Reappointments, you do not need to be here. Okay, we get to item number 13 now. This appoints Susan D. Hanson, member of the Community Criminal Justice Board. 14, Albertina R. Carter, member of the Community Criminal Justice Board. Item 15, Jack Lanier, the Community Criminal Justice Board. And 16, Melvin Lawson, member of the Advisory Board for the Assessment of Towing Fees of the Storage of Vehicles. And that one will stay on consent agenda. Item 17, this appoints John L. Bach, member of the Building Code Board of Appeals. Number 18, reappointing Richard Barton Campbell, member of Community Criminal Justice Board. And 19, appointing Dr. Richard L. Bennett, Jr., member of the Richmond Ambulance Authority. So those items will take place at the very beginning of the meeting, the appointments and reappointments. Get to the regular agenda. Well, here's the way it looks. Item number 20, ordinance 2012-29. This is a special use permit. This one's been floating around for a while. 122 Tempsford Lane. They want to split a lot, will result in an additional lot. That paper has been withdrawn, so it is gone now. It will not be heard tonight or any other night. So They may come back with a different paper at a different time. We don't know, but we know that paper has been withdrawn. And then item 21. This one is Resolution 2013-R47. And this is the one that reverses the decision of the Commission of Architectural Review that denied a certificate of appropriateness for the vinyl windows at 2916 Monument Avenue. From what we understand, they are discussing now, they're negotiating, talking back and forth, the car and attorneys, etc. And this paper has once again been continued. It'll be heard on the 24th of June. So that's what it looks like tonight. So here we go. We started out with 6 items on consent. 4 are being continued, so we're down to 2 items. We had 13 items on appointments and reappointments. We're down to 12. We had 2 items on regular agenda, 1 withdrawn, 1 continued, so we have no items on the regular agenda. So basically what we're looking at tonight, besides the appointments and reappointments, are 2 items on consent agenda, and that's it. But things can always change. Now, citizens comment period tonight. We have 4 speakers signed up. 1 to speak about the cold temperature policy, 1 speaking as a concerned citizen, and 2 thanking council for adopting the STEP program. 1 is from the Coalition of Police, 1 from Richmond Firefighters Association. So that's what's going on there with the citizens comment period. And then awards and presentations. We have 2. 1 is Comcast Richmond for holding its company's annual Comcast Cares Day in April and assisting the Richmond Department of Recreation, Parks, and Community Facilities by helping with the beautification of parts of Richmond's William Byrd Park. That one will be presented tonight, a Richmond Community Service Award. And then there's a bunch of young ladies out here wearing JBC uniforms. They are the John B. Carey Elementary School Cheerleading Squad, and they're going to be getting an official recognition on behalf of the continuing success of the Richmond Public Schools John B. Carey Elementary School Cheerleader Squad. So those are the awards and recognitions for tonight. So that's what it looks like for tonight. Will it be a short meeting? Will it be a long meeting? Like I say, we never know until we get started. We'll be getting started in about 5 minutes or so. I'm Dick Harmon. Stay tuned.
Well, I understand, but what I'm saying is last week, well, I won't make a big deal.
Well,
Because I won't prevail, because I don't. I
well,
don't.
this is even though like he have to say, you have to say for sure that you're talking to
Can I give you some people to give some of the people?
you got 9 well,
No, just enough for the people.
that would be at least 9.
They all don't
Who
matter.
you want
Trust
for
me.
power?
Everybody's not that important. So, Miss Trammell, because she invited me. Charles Samuels, because he voted with the mayor for his protection that he don't deserve. Councilman Hilbert, because he's supposed to represent our district. I'm not terribly impressed. Miss Graziano. I'm good. Actually, can I get with the Bilal's back?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to be getting started in just a moment. I just wanted to let everybody know if they could take their seats and if council members could come down to the dais, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all members of council appear to be here at this point, so we're going to call the formal Richmond City Council meeting to order at this point. At this time, we will stand, and the invocation will be given by the Reverend John Westbrook, Associate Minister of Fifth Street Baptist Church, immediately followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. To our all-powerful, all-knowing, and ever-present God, on this evening we invite your presence into this, the people's chamber, and among the governing body of the city of Richmond, Virginia. We pray that you will keep us mindful that your power is embodied in the people. And on behalf of the people, we ask that you will endow us with your loving spirit and grant us a wee bit of your wisdom such that we can be diligent in our deliberations, compassionate in our considerations, and dutiful in our decisions. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, at this point, would you please provide everyone with the chamber emergency evacuation plan and the citizen speaker's guideline, please?
Upon evacuation of the emergency alarm systems, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exit to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairway outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use escalators or elevators. After exiting the building, proceed to the assembly area located in the parking lot bordered by Clay, 8th, and 9th Streets. Citizens and employees should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Citizen Speaker's Guideline. Citizens wishing to speak during public hearing and/or citizen comment period generally have 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business venture, use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public official or staff members that are not related to their duties. Addressed or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the President of Council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time, and future disciplinary actions are necessary. which would include barring from attendance at future meetings of City Council for a period of 6 months.
Mr. President, for the record, all members of council are in attendance this evening.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read the appointments and reappointments on the agenda?
Yes, appointments and reappointments for consideration this evening consist of, starting with item number 7, and when I call your name, if you would please stand. Item number 7, resolution number 2013-R131, to appoint Denise P. Dickerson as a member of the Richmond Behavioral Health Authority for a term terminating June 10th, 2016, succeeding Samuel F. Lillard. Item number 8, resolution number 2013-R132, to appoint Cheryl Ivy Green, as a member of the Richmond Behavioral Health Authority for a term terminating June 10th, 2016, succeeding Dr. Carolyn N. Graham. Item number 9, resolution number 2013-R133, to appoint Leighton Powell.
I don't see her.
As a member of the advisory board. That paper will be continued then to the June 24th meeting. Item number 10, resolution number 2013-R134, to appoint Jesse E. Bell as a member of the Personnel Board for a term terminating June 10th, 2016, succeeding Linda Holt Armstrong. Item number 11, resolution number 2013-R135, to reappoint Dolores McQuinn as a member of the Board of Directors of Capital Area Partnership Uplifting People, Incorporated, for a term terminating June 10th, 2016. Item number 12, resolution number 2013-R136, to appoint, that paper is to be continued to June 24th. And that's to appoint Jonathan Zur to cap up as well. Moving on to item number 13, resolution number 2013-R137, to reappoint Susan D. Hanson as a member of the Community Criminal Justice Board, Public Defender for a term terminating June 10th, 2015. Item number 14, resolution number 2013-R138, to appoint Albertina R. Carter as a member of the Community Criminal Justice Board, Citizen Representative for a term terminating June 10th, 2015, succeeding Kelly King Horn. Item 15, resolution number 2013-R139, to reappoint Jack O. Lanier as a member of the Community Criminal Justice Board, Administrator Community Services Board for a term terminating June 10th, 2015. Item number 16, resolution number 2013-R140, to appoint Melvin Lawson as a member of the Advisory Board for the Assessment of Towing Fees and the Storage of Vehicles, Towing and Recovery Operator for a term terminating June 10th, 2016, succeeding Ron Marshall. Item number 17, resolution number 2013-R141, to reappoint John L. Brock as a member of the Building Code Board of Appeals, General Division, Citizen Representative for a term terminating June 10th, 2016. Item 18, resolution number 2013-R143, to reappoint Richard Barton Campbell as a member of the Community Criminal Justice Board, Juvenile and Domestic Relations District Court Judge Representative for a term terminating June 10th, 2015. And item number 19, resolution number 2013-R143, to appoint Dr. Richard L. Bennett Jr. as a member of the Richmond Ambulance Authority for a term terminating June 10th, 2015, succeeding Stacy J. Williams. Those are all of the appointment and reappointment papers that I have for consideration.
Thank you very much. After the public comment and the vote is held on your appointments, if you'd be so kind as to go to the back, there'll be a clerk waiting there for you to take you into the clerk's office to administer the oath of office. At this point, are there persons here wishing to speak in opposition to any of those appointments? Are there those then willing to speak in favor of any of those appointments? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for discussion. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please call the question, Madam Clerk.
Council is voting on the appointment and reappointment papers as read, which consist of items 7 and 8, 10, 11, 13 through 19. Mr. Beliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasta?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Wonderful. Congratulations to all of y'all. And again, if you will go to the back, there's a gentleman standing back there by the door. If you will follow him into the clerk's office for the oath of office. Oh, maybe it's a lady in a red dress. There's two clerks back there. You'll be fine either way you go. Our next sign on the agenda is awards and presentations, Madam Clerk.
Yes. The first recognition being presented by Councilor Parker Agelasto recognizes Comcast of Richmond for holding its annual Comcast Cares Day. Present to receive the recognition are employees of Comcast Richmond. The honorable members of Richmond City Council hereby recognize, honor, and celebrate Comcast Richmond for holding its company's annual Comcast Cares Day. A company-wide day of community service, Comcast Cares Day is an event that has been held by Comcast Corporation since 2001. The program allows employees and their families to volunteer their time, talents, and energies on the same day in their local communities in service of worthy causes. An outstanding successful event, this year's Comcast Cares Day was held on Saturday, April 27th, and Comcast Richmond chose to assist the Richmond Department of Parks, Recreation, and Community Facilities by helping them with beautifications of parts of Richmond's William Byrd Park. Volunteer work included assisting with planting, landscaping, cleaning, repairing, and cleaning debris in and around Dogwood Dale, Haypenny Stage, and the World War I Memorial Carillon. Over the years, Comcast Cares Day has produced more than 2.5 million hours of volunteer service for more than 4,000 projects across the nation. Comcast Cares Day is reported to be the largest single corporate volunteer effort in the country. Richmond City Council hereby honors, celebrates Comcast for holding its company's annual Comcast Cares Day and thanks its employees, families, and friends for helping to make Richmond an even better place.
It's a true pleasure that Comcast is the type of corporate citizen here in the city of Richmond. You know, we rely on our citizens to do things, but we also rely on our corporations. And Comcast, for many, many years, has been there with our citizens. Comcast Cares Day came to Byrd Park once before, but through some work of the neighbors and others in the city efforts, we got Comcast to come back in April. And we had about 400 volunteers out in Byrd Park. If you're not familiar with Byrd Park, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, it's about 300 acres of a park. And to get 400 volunteers out there, it's a pretty impressive sight to have that aggregate, but you still can't clean up that much of a park in one day. But we did a lot of work. I went out with the team. We showed up at 8 a.m. and we had crews literally from the tennis courts to the Haypenny Stage, to the Roundhouse, doing magnificent work. And Comcast brought with them hundreds of their own employees, and they were joined by the efforts of folks from the Sierra Club who are here today, the Mayor's Impact Team, from the Byrd Park Civic League, from the Richmond Tennis Association. A lot of people came out to make this a wonderful event, and it truly was, and I appreciate everything that Comcast does. We're very thankful that not only did they get out there to do the work, but they've made a grant to the Civic Association to keep the maintenance of the park up for the next few years. And this is truly wonderful what you all do for the city. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
President Samuels, Councilman Agelasto, council members, I'm Steve Hill, Vice President of Operations for Comcast. Thank you for the kind words and thank you for the accommodation. I also like to thank all the Comcast partners for coming out. And on behalf of the hundreds of Comcast employees and their families, I accept this. Thank you.
The next award, being presented by Councilor Agelasto, recognizes John B. Carey Elementary's cheerleading squad. Present to receive the recognition are Principal Brenda Phillips, Cheerleader Squad Executive Director LaShawn Reed, Coaches Janine Mosby, Megan Farrell, and Autumn Woodson, along with members Ashana Fox, Ava Sutherland, Brianna Herbert, Brielle Boykins, Candence Coleman, Shanae Smith, Chanel Shelton, Cherish Coleman, Dion Bankston, Jacqueline Dobson, Jade Penn, Jameis Herbert, Kiana Jones, Latisha Jones, Layla Billingheimer, Lynn Isaiah Harris, Mia Cousins, Nevaeh Venable, Preston Pierce, Shahara Pender, Serenity Alexander, Shahaya Pope, Shayon Neverson, Sydney Jefferson, Tanae Carter, Taylor Cannon, Tiana Theus, Trinity Nixon, Tristan Nixon, Yaquay Myers, Zaria Reed, and Zaire Perkins. The honorable members of Richmond City Council hereby unite to recognize, honor, and celebrate the continuing success of Richmond Public Schools' John B. Carey Elementary School Cheerleader Squad. Established in 2010, John B. Carey Elementary Cheerleaders Squad includes more than 30 elementary student athletes and has grown steadily in skills and reputation since its creation. Performing during numerous school basketball games and pep rallies, the squad has also been exhibited at many citywide special events over the years. Embracing their motto, "The leader in me in our community," the dedicated cheerleading squad coaches and staff continually demonstrate the importance of education, hard work, and service. John B. Carey Elementary School cheerleading squad recently began participating in competitions and won first place in their division at the American Cheer and Dance Academy Old Dominion Championship held in Richmond on November 7, 2012. This win qualified them to compete in one of the 5 competitions produced by the Epic Band U.S. Finals, the Final Destination, which is an umbrella company representing dance businesses across the nation. Attending one held in Virginia Beach during the weekend of May 4th through 5th, 2013, the John B. Carey Elementary School cheerleading squad won second place in their division. Richmond City Council hereby honors and celebrates John B. Carey Elementary School's cheerleading squad and bring this to the attention of all Richmond residents.
They say to celebrate the things that you do well. Well, you all don't just do well, you do great. And this cheerleading squad is a real gem for the city of Richmond. For those of you who aren't aware, the children here go to John B. Carey School. They're from kindergarten all the way to 4th grade. They don't have any 5th graders in this year's class, so nobody is going to be moving on tomorrow at graduation, which is exciting because you all are going to become much more stronger as a cohesive team. What this group does, and I've been to so many events where you all have been present, and it's a real pleasure to go to some of the other John B. Carey Cougar basketball games that you all go to. I've seen you at City Council. I know all these people have seen you at City Council. You come to a lot of the wonderful city events, and not only that, but you're learning discipline. You're learning to work together in a formation, and it's really, truly remarkable to see the talents that you all have. Now, beyond that, what we're really celebrating today is the fact that you won your regional competition, and that you then were able to go on to Virginia Beach and compete in a much larger competition, and you did fantastic down there. And so I'm looking forward to having you all around John B. Carey next year, for me to come out and celebrate with you, to be at the basketball games. And thank you very much. I want to also just quickly recognize the fact that we've got these tremendous coaches here, and Miss Woodson is actually a junior at Thomas Jefferson High School and is part of the coaching team for John B. Carey. So it's wonderful to see how we're being able to bridge between our high schools and our elementary schools. We've got Principal Brenda Phillips with us tonight. And so it's my pleasure to recognize and honor you all. And I know that somebody's prepared some remarks.
The John B. Carey cheerleaders would like to thank you for this great honor and awards for our win at the 2013 U.S. Finals cheerleading competition. We are very proud of our work as a squad and are even prouder to be celebrated by our city. Again, we thank you.
Madam Clerk, that concludes the awards and presentations.
That is correct.
Would you please read the list of amendments to tonight's agenda?
The amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 1, ordinance number 2013-80 will be continued to June 24th council meeting. Item 3, ordinance number 2013-96 will be continued to July 8th council meeting. Item 4, ordinance number 2013-97 will be continued to June 24th council meeting. Item 6, ordinance number 2013-109 will be continued to June 24th council. Item 9, resolution number 2013-R133 will be continued to June 24th council meeting. Item 12, resolution number 2013-R36 will be continued to June 24th council meeting. Item 20, ordinance number 2012-29 has been withdrawn by patron. And item 21, resolution number 2013-R47 will be continued to June 24th. And those are all amendments I have so far.
Thank you very much. Any additions or corrections? Call the question, Madam Clerk.
I need a motion to accept the amended agenda as presented. Ms. Graziano, will you make that motion?
So moved.
And council is voting on the amended agenda as read. Mr. Bliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agalesto? Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
President Samuel?
Aye.
The amended agenda is before you.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak in favor or oppose to anything that we've changed on the agenda? Technically, we don't need a public comment on this, but I always like to give folks the chance. Seeing none, bring it back to council.
Excuse me. What are the agendas, may I ask? Because you just read off some numbers and dates, and there's no clarification as to what you're talking about.
Well, what we did, sir, and I'm sorry I got myself a little turned around, there's a question in the audience. Usually we aren't able to take questions at this point. The council just voted to accept changes to the agenda, essentially continuing certain papers to another day to hear them instead of being heard tonight. Next up would be the regular agenda usually. However, there are no regular agenda items. So we would be moving next to motions to amend and continue.
We have no papers to be amended and continued this evening, Mr. President.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Citizen comment period would be next then, please.
The first citizen speaker is W.B. Braxton Bantu. Mr. Bantu. Next is Eric Lang Tinsley.
Yes. I am here because Ms. Trammell.
And, sir, I know we just called your name. It's a silly requirement, but we have to ask you to also say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine. You can, no, come on down. You're fine to talk. Just when you start, say your name so the clerks can record it appropriately.
Okay. Eric Lang Tinsley. And just give me a moment to set up. I brought my grandfather's Bible here, or my great-grandfather's Bible here from 1848. Powerful. Has the Apocrypha in it. And it just so happened that I covered it with newspaper from Monday, September the 21st, 1998, ex-mayor grand jury topic. And it seems very appropriate that God had me to grab this item, seeing as we have a mayor that says that he's a minister. We see him on TV. But a Christian man should need so much protection if God is protecting his every step. Excuse me. Hello, council folks. And media personalities that I tried to contact you all for some help in our communities, and I'm just not that important. My community is not. So I approached God and asked him to send an uncorruptible judge to Richmond to handle these items. we have vendors in our city. The vendors have certain events that go on downtown and so forth that brings revenue to our city. Unfortunately, we have this sort of illegal type of ticketing and towing scheme going on where somebody's pocket's getting lined, but the vendors aren't making enough money, and the individuals coming here to visit our fair city are getting their cars towed. The revenue for the city is revenue. Anything that is like unto the racketeering and influence peddling and so forth and so on, that needs to be addressed. You're going up on a lot of things. 2 weeks ago, you had a meeting here. Simultaneously, you had something going on at Thomas Jefferson about the schools. And then the ROC program with the minister and the 4 ministers that stepped down with the Henrico County and the city police that were running these forces. Okay? This is corruption. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to establish venues all over town so that the people won't show up to know that they're being waxed. This is going to stop by the grace of God. It is going to stop. And
You have 30 seconds. Please begin to summarize.
I will. I'll summarize in this fashion. The mayor said that he's a minister, so I'm going to do here what the mayor probably have never done before in this place. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Glory to God, glory to God, glory to God. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Power of God. I asked God to send an earthquake. Because I paid for this place, that court across the street, and the federal court on Broad Street.
Sir, your time is up.
So I'm asking God to get rid of these places and your homes and your children's homes. And I'm asking him to spare only the innocent of your family, the little bitty babies.
Sir,
thank you so much, and goodbye. I won't be back. I won't need to be. This place won't be here anymore.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell.
The next speaker,
Remember what I told you to do.
Stacy Rogers. Stacy Rogers.
Thank you, and I did.
Hi, my name is Stacy Rogers. I represent the Richmond Coalition of Police. Just wanted to come, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. Thank you, Mr. President, City Council members, for passing the budget that brought back step increases for police officers. I've spoken in front of you several times, and I've met with a lot of you individually. Some of you for several years, and some of you just recently. I'm very appreciative of the work that you guys did to bring that back. You make my job a lot easier to go back to the men and women that I work with and really be a cheerleader for the city of Richmond and our department. You guys have provided a small amount of hope that things can move forward. And it's going to change some of our, it's a big deal to get steps back this year. And I want you guys to understand the fact that we recognize that. We know how much work it was for you guys to do, and know it was not an easy thing to do. And to all parties that were involved in that, just like to express our thanks and gratitude. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. President, Stacey, I'd like to say thank you for all that you did at the public safety meetings by standing up for those men and women in the police department, and also with the fire department, you all working together. And I'd like to thank my colleagues that listened, and we heard you all loud and clear, and I just say thank you for standing up and not giving up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
The next speaker is Keith Andes.
Good evening, everyone. President Samuels, Vice President Robinson and members of City Council, my name is Keith Andes. Very seldom do people come up to the podium to say thank you. Tonight, the Richmond Professional Firefighters Association would like to thank each of you for passing the 2014-2015 budget with an amendment to fund the 2014 and hopefully 2015 police and fire pay step plan that has been frozen since 2009. This plan goes a long way in showing your commitment to us. Being able to retain our members and uplifting morale in our department will go a long way, especially our younger members who since coming on the department have not received any pay raise. At a point in their lives when they are starting families, the need for extra money is greatly appreciated. The long hours that are put in by all involved in the budget process do not go unnoticed by us. From the November-December departmental meetings to passage of a budget in late May, the time that you take to go line by line, department by department, and listening to public comments, a lot of effort is put forth by you. The individual meetings that we have an opportunity to sit down with each council person is very much appreciated. From the mayor's initial 2% across the board pay raise to the re-implementation of the pay step plan, we thank Mayor Jones, CAO Byron Marshall, and City Council members for working together on this important issue. We also thank the media for keeping it in the news, especially Laura Geller and Robert Zullo. I also want to thank my counterpart, Stacey Rogers, in the police department, but I also would like to thank the men and women of the RPD and RFD for their patience and dedication in continuing to show their pride and professionalism through pretty tough, rough, and lean years with no pay increases. We all understood the economic times we were entrenched in, and we showed restraint and were silent through the last 6 years. Hopefully, we are on the road to recovery, and not only the city budget, but also our household budgets. While we still have concerns such as health care costs, we look forward to a possible formation of a task force to look at the city health care system. We also need to look at the mandatory life insurance policy, career development, and COLA increases for our forgotten retirees. We look forward to continued working relationship with all city administration and city council. Lastly, but most importantly, we want to thank the citizens of Richmond who make all city government operate. They too are struggling with their household budgets and want to see their tax dollars spent wisely. The dedicated men and women of Richmond Police and Fire promise to always be at the ready for any emergency that this individual or our community may face and perform our duties as so needed. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak tonight. May we all continue to work hard so that Richmond will be an example of unity that all people want to be a part of. Please stay safe, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andes.
Mr. President, I'd like to say thank you, Keith. Thank you for standing up with Stacy and coming to all the public safety meetings and just standing up for what was right. And as they say, unity counts. And I'd like to, again, thank my colleagues for, they worked so hard to make sure that you all were in the budget and make sure that this happened, because I know at one time it was not going to happen. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you all, and thank you all.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, does that conclude the speakers?
That is correct.
All right, next up would be the consent agenda. Would you please give us a review of the items on tonight's consent agenda?
The consent agenda items are item 2, ordinance number 2013-95, to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 1714 Summit Avenue, to authorize the reconfiguration and addition of parking area on the property. Item 5, ordinance number 2013-106, to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 310 South Boulevard, to additionally authorize the enclosure of an existing 292 square foot porch. Those are the only two items on the consent agenda items.
Thank you. Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in opposition to any of the papers on tonight's consent agenda? Are there those that wish to speak in favor of any items on tonight's consent agenda? All right, seeing none. Yes, sir.
On the consent agenda now?
Yes, sir, we sure are. Would you like to? Yes, would you please?
Thank you.
When you come down, if you wouldn't mind saying your name for the record so the clerks can get that information.
I'm Elmer Taylor C. Jr., and I'm a member. I live in the 3rd District. And I'm speaking to your ordinance on the consent agenda 2113-109, the retirement piece. I'm speaking on it.
Sir, I'm sorry to point this out to you. That paper was actually continued tonight, so we're not going to vote
I
on it.
understand. I read that, but I just want to make my opinion voice now. Then I'll come back and I'll address it then, if I may.
Usually, the council rules are that folks.
Pardon? You're not speaking loud enough in your microphone, so you can't hear back there.
Let me try a little.
It's like this.
Let me try a little harder.
It's like this, sir.
Usually, folks are allowed to speak on any paper they want when it's in front of council, but at this point, that paper is not in front of us, so there is no public comment on it.
Okay, so you're not going to keep this on the agenda now?
Yes,
It's a consent agenda, so obviously you're going to vote on it, but I see where it says continue to Monday, the 24th, so what you going to do?
We are going to take public comment at that time as to whether or not folks agree with it or don't agree with
So
it.
you're taking it off the agenda now?
Yes, sir. We took it off the agenda
I'm very concerned about what's being proposed, and I share it with my council member, and I have shared with her because I went out on a similar kind of package, and I want to address it because I don't think it's fair in terms of what you do, because you haven't given a cost of living to retired employees since Mayor Wilder last year. And the only person who considered to put something into the agenda for us was Mrs. Robertson, and it was less than 100% of inch, and I said, keep it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. C. Are there others that wish to speak in favor or in opposition to any paper that's on tonight's consent agenda?
Mr. President.
Just one second. Bring it back to council for discussion. Vice President Robertson.
I would like to make an announcement for the benefit of Mr. C.
Yes.
That this paper will be coming before the Finance Committee. Okay, this paper will be coming before the Finance Committee next week, Thursday, at 3 o'clock. Is that right, Ms. Graziano? So if that's convenient for you, that would be a time that you can also address the committee.
I don't think you've been fair to your retired employees.
I just wanted to make you aware of when the paper was coming to the committee.
Mayor Watkins last year.
Thank you.
He went and passed us, and I think it's unfair. I work hard for the city.
All right, sir, I'm sorry, we can't keep on talking about this paper. It's not in front of us tonight. Anybody like to speak in favor or against? Does any council member have any comments about any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call for the question?
Council is now voting on the consent agenda, which consists of item 2 and 5. Mr. Bliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Agalesto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
The consent agenda has been adopted.
Thank you very much. Are there any expedited papers tonight?
There are no expedited papers for consideration this evening.
That being the case, may we please move on to approval of the minutes?
The minutes to be approved are from the Tuesday, May 28th, informal and formal sessions of council. Mr. Hilbert, will you make the motion to approve the minutes as read?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Council is now voting on Mr. Hilbert's motion to approve the minutes as presented. Mr. Bliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Algelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
And President Samuels?
Aye.
Those minutes have been approved.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're making record time here. We are down to reports and announcements, and I would like to start tonight with Actually, I'm going to give the right-hand side of the dais a chance to get everything together so they know exactly what they want to say, and start with Mr. Bliles.
I'm good, Mr. President. Thank you.
Ditto.
Thank you, guys. Ms. Mosby.
I just want to say that the Midlothian Civic Association meeting will be canceled for Tuesday.
Thank you, Ms. Mosby. Vice President Robertson? No comments over there. Mr. Agelasto.
First, I think it's important to recognize that this is graduation week, and so I'd like to congratulate all of our seniors who are graduating from Richmond Public Schools, also all of our middle and elementary school students who are moving on grades. I think that's fantastic accomplishments, and congratulations to all of them. In the 5th District specifically, this Saturday at 9 a.m., we will be doing a neighborhood cleanup over in Oregon Hill. We're meeting at 9 a.m. at the William Byrd Community House. So if you are able and can get out and volunteer and help us, we're looking for as many volunteers. We're going to be cleaning sidewalks and picking up bulk from the alleys. And if you've got any bulk requests, let us know. You can contact Ida Jones or myself. Then on Tuesday, June the 18th, Bird Park Civic League will be having their meeting. That's at 6 p.m. over at the Bird Park Roundhouse. And that's it for my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agelasto. Mr. Hilbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me, I do have a sad note and want to honor leaders within the 3rd District and citywide who have passed away this past week. Former Police Chief Frank Dooling passed away, the longest-serving police chief in our city's history, and his leadership will be missed, and our condolences to his family, as well as Walter Gaines, the Civic Association president for Providence Park. This council honored his 30 years of service in that role last year, and it's my sad duty to report his passing, and again, our condolences to his family. I did want to recognize 2 employees, Tanel Walker and Phyllis Grooms Gordon, who received awards at last week's Homeward annual conference on best practices to prevent homelessness. These employees received these awards for their excellence in serving the homeless community and working to end homelessness, and we appreciate their service. I know from time to time we do have reports of negative things within our city, and I think it's important to say thank you when someone does an outstanding job. So thank you to those 2 employees. The next Education and Human Services Committee meeting will be next Wednesday, June the 19th at 5 o'clock here at City Hall. We will discuss court interventions to address unexcused absences in Richmond Public Schools. We plan on having Mike Herring, the Commonwealth's attorney for the city, and Shannon Taylor, the Henrico's Commonwealth's attorney, to discuss how to address truancy laws so that we can really have, thank you, we can really make a difference in truancy. And thank you, Madam Clerk, for pointing out to me that that meeting has been moved to 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock next Wednesday, June the 19th. And we will have officials from RPS as well as Juvenile Court Services. So come out and let your thoughts be known on truancy. This is a critical area, and we absolutely need to address this. When children don't graduate from high school, they're pretty much on a one-way street to a diminished life. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hilbert. Ms. Trammell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next 8th District meeting will be held next Thursday, June the 20th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Satellite Restaurant and Lounge, 4000 block of Jefferson Davis. The Honorable Derek Jones, our 8th District School Board representative, will be there to speak to us about the zoning of our children in our 8th District, and he will answer other questions that some of the citizens might have. Also, Jack Lanier, Chief Executive Officer of the Richmond Behavioral Health Authority, he will be attending. Also, Ms. Goolsby, Chief Executive Officer for the Richmond Development Housing Authority, she will be attending. Ms. Lisa Hicks, Director of Youth Programs, and also Ms. Deborah Morton, Deputy Director of Department of Parks and Recreation and Community Facilities. She will be attending, and she will be talking about the $400,000 that we put into the Hickory Hill Community Center over, gosh, I guess maybe 10 years we've been trying to get money over there, and trying to put a football field over there, a soccer field, also trees, a walking trail, and also we put over $5,000 inside the Hickory Hill Community Center for exercise equipment. And also they do line dancing over there. A lot of people do not know that they do line dancing. And also to join the gym, it is only $15. $15. So that's great. Also, our police department will be there, our firefighters will be there, and to answer some of the questions, especially some of the sheets that we pass out these sheets every month to the citizens that attend, and they fill them out and they give them back to me. And the only person that sees these sheets is myself and the department heads that they have to go to. So everyone is welcome to come out next Thursday, June the 20th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Satellite, 4000 block of Jefferson Davis. Also, if you need to contact me, my home number is 233-7382. Again, that's 233-7382. That's my home. My personal cell is 240-5050. This right here is your smoke alarm. If you call 646-1526, that's 646-1526, the firefighters will come to your house, to your apartment, to your business, and they will install this for free. It doesn't cost anything. And right now, this is probably the only thing that's free in our city. So take advantage of it, because if we don't use it, it's going to go away, and then we won't get no more. So again, we want to thank the firefighters that come out there to the houses, and they check the batteries of the smoke alarm, and also they install these smoke alarms for free. And if you don't want to call, you can go to your nearest fire station and tell them that you need a smoke alarm or you need the battery checked. Remember, these smoke alarms will save your life, they will save your pets, and also they'll save your home from burning down, and probably the neighbors' houses too, because we know how fast fires can spread. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Dr. Newbill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to remind the citizens of the City Council's Governmental Operations Committee meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 27th. It will be here in City Hall, second floor, large conference room, and we encourage citizens to come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Newbill. That leaves me. First of all, I want to thank everybody who came out for the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Task Force. This past Friday, they named Michael Hild of Live Well Financial as chairman and Daisy Weaver, a retired city executive, as the co-chair. The task force meets monthly. I also want to thank George Payton, recently retired from his long service with the Retail Merchants Association, for his truly outstanding help and guidance with the B-Poll tax study structure. His help has truly been invaluable. The Fan District parking details will be sold for one day only, June 19th, from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Michaud House, which is at 1133 West Franklin Street. Save a trip to City Hall. Come on out to the Fan to buy your fan parking decal. Lastly, two neighborhood association points of interest. Historic Jackson Ward Association will be meeting 6 p.m. at Club 533, which is at the corner of 3rd and Jackson Streets on June 18th. And the Rosedale Civic Association is sponsoring the annual Northside Food Drive on June 15th. Pickup begins at 1 p.m. and can be taken to 1901 West Laburnum and placed inside the gate. Having said that, Madam Clerk, would you please introduce the new papers?
Yes, the introduction papers are as follows. Ordinance number 2013-120, and that's to renounce the right to receive payment on a subordinate debt due to the city in the amount of $409,500 associated with the parking facility constructed on 201 East Gray Street, referred in a contract between the city and the Richmond Metropolitan Authority. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation Standing Committee, June 18th at 3 p.m. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-121, and that's to authorize up to $230,000 from the Parking Management Special Fund for the purpose of providing funding to the Richmond Metropolitan Authority to satisfy the remaining balance of a bank loan for 201 East Gray Street. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, June 18th at 3 p.m. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-122, and that's to declare a public necessity for and to authorize the acquisition of 201 East Gray Street for the purpose of public parking. Planning Commission, 6/17 at 1:30 p.m. Land Use, June 28th at 3 p.m. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th, 2013. Ordinance number 2013-123, and that's to authorize the CAO to accept a donation of consulting and information technology services and volunteer labor for International Business Machines Corporation for the purpose of developing strategies to improve delivery of services and to promote economic and neighborhood development. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-124, and that's to amend City Code to relocate and establish a new polling place for Precinct 610. Governmental Operations, June 27th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, July 8th. Ordinance number 2013-125, and that's to amend City Code for the purpose of establishing new precinct boundaries for Precincts 105, 103, and 105. Governmental Operations, June 27th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, July 8th. Ordinance number 2013-126, and that's to authorize the CAO to execute an agreement between the city and the Virginia Commonwealth University for the purpose of implementing a pilot program to provide a means to become a operational user of the computer aid, dispatch, and mobile data communication systems. Public Safety, June 17th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-127, and that's to amend the City Code which adopted the fiscal year 2013 capital budget by establishing a new project called the Gateway Plaza Public Parking Garage Project by increasing estimated revenues by $11,250,000 and appropriating for the purpose of constructing approximately 326 public parking spaces in a new office tower on a site bounded by Clay Street, South 9th Street, East Canal Street, and South 8th Street. Planning Commission, June 17th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-128, and that's to amend the ordinance which adopted the fiscal year 2013 general fund budget and the special fund budget by creating a special fund called the Economic Development Opportunity Fund, and by transferring and appropriating $250,000 for the purpose of funding the city's efforts to attract and retain businesses within the city of Richmond. Land Use, June 18th at 3 p.m. Finance, Economic and Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-129, and that's to amend the ordinance which adopted the fiscal year 2013 general fund budget and the special fund budget by creating a new fund called the Facade Improvement Fund, and by transferring and appropriating $250,000 for the purpose of renovating important facades located in the Arts and Cultural District to attract businesses and promote tourism within the district. Finance and Economic Development, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-130, and that's to amend the ordinance which adopted the fiscal year 2013 special fund budget by creating a new special fund entitled East End Parks Improvement, and to authorize the CAO to accept $119,535 from the J. Fulmer Brights Foundation and to appropriate the increase to the East End Parks Improvement Special Fund for the purpose of maintaining and improving the city's East End parks. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-131, and that's to authorize the issuance of general obligation public improvement bonds in the maximum principal amount of $11,250,000 and to finance the cost of school projects and general capital improvement projects of the city, acquisitions of real property therefore, as appropriated, and the making of appropriations to the Economic Development Authority to finance or to make loans or grants to finance capital expenditures for the purpose of promoting economic development, and authorize the Director of Finance to sell such bonds, to provide for the form, detail, and payment, and to authorize the issuance of notes in anticipation of the issuance, and to authorize the issuance of taxable bonds for the same purpose and use in the maximum principal amount and payable over the same period as such general obligation public improvement bonds. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-132, and that's to amend the ordinance which closed to public use and travel a portion of Virginia Street and an alley known as Exchange Alley for the purpose of extending the deadline for compliance with the requirements of such ordinance. Planning Commission, July 8th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, July 8th, 2013. Ordinance number 2013-133 to authorize the CAO to execute an agreement between the city and the Economic Development Authority for the purpose of developing and managing an office building located on a site bounded by East Carey Street, South 9th Street, East Canal Street, and South 8th Street. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-134 to authorize the CAO to execute an agreement between the city and Clayco Incorporated for the purpose of developing and managing an office building located on a site bounded by East Carey Street, South 9th Street, East Canal Street, and South 8th Street. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Ordinance number 2013-135 to close to public use and travel a portion of right-of-way known as the 8th Street Connector, bounded by 8th Street, Basin Bank Street, South 9th Street, East Canal Street. Planning Commission, July 1st at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, July 8th. Resolution number 2013 R145 to declare a public necessity to amend city code and to initiate an amendment to the city's zoning ordinance to change the composition of the urban design committee, to add to the committee a member. Land Use and Housing Transportation Standing Committee, June 18th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Resolution number 2013 R144 to concur the issuance of a taxable exempt revenue bond for the benefit of Veritas Classical Christian School. Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee, June 20th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, June 24th. Mr. President, that concludes this evening's introduction papers.
Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.
And I think we have just set a modern record for Richmond City Council. 57 minutes from start to finish tonight. We had some in the old days where they would just introduce papers at the beginning of a new year. But tonight, start to finish, 57 minutes. Got called to order right at 6 o'clock. Then we had the appointments and reappointments, awards and presentations, agenda review. Got to the regular agenda. There were no items on the regular agenda, so there was nothing there. So we got the citizens' comment period, only 3 speakers. Then we got to the consent agenda, just 2 items. That took 5 minutes. Approval of minutes, reports from council, introduction of papers, and we are done. So a little less than an hour tonight. One of the shortest meetings of the past 25 years, and one of the shortest in the modern era since we had a council president. So that's it for 2 weeks. We'll be back again 2 weeks from tonight, 24th of June. So till then, I'm Dick Harmon for Gavel to Gavel. Good night.
Oh, I already have it.